Shout out to everybody out there on White Street. You already know what it is. Salute to everybody.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to SteveBussaGS. We got another scorecard reaction for you guys. But before we hop into that, this is part of my birthday series. So today is my birthday. I'm using it as an opportunity to kind of like showcase different artists because that's what we're about here. And this is a really interesting situation that came up. So we are going to go over Greydon Square's Omniverse. This is what he said would be like his like introduction into who he is as an artist, like the first song that he would put somebody onto, and it wasn't the first one that we had. So to bring people up to speed, the first thing I want to do is kind of like go over a few points of the back and forth that kind of happened between the artist and I, so that everybody on my side that's watching is kind of brought up to speed, clarify a few points that I think still kind of like drifted to the side, and then get into the reaction. So the first thing was, I have a little notepad here for everything. The first thing was you made a really good point as far as like people saying like nerd rap. Like we got to stop saying nerd rap because it has a negative connotation and it makes people not want to explore the genre, etc., etc., etc. While I agree with you, I do strongly disagree, as I am a huge nerd. When I say nerd rap, I am saying it as a huge compliment. You can't see it perfectly, but I am just literally covered in anime and video game tattoos all across my body. I am one of the biggest nerds that you will ever see. I embrace it. I forget sometimes that it has a negative connotation outside of my circle because it's a word that is thrown around a lot. Like when I say nerd bars and shit like that, like if you listen to my raps, which the 1K verse did drop, so if you want to get an opportunity to go tear me up, I encourage you guys, go get your frustrations out on my scorecard and go check this stuff out. But like if you listen to my stuff, like I will always put like anime bars in there, I always put cartoon bars in there, I always put video game bars in there because I like that shit. I do forget sometimes that not everybody is in my bubble, but I also speak to my audience. So people that follow my stuff know that, and it's only really abrasive to people who are just finding out about me. So I'm hoping that eventually it becomes something that is just kind of understood on the channel. For now, I don't mind. Like, if you're going to go out of your way to acknowledge my reaction video and have something to say about it, I have no problem coming up and clarifying some things and adding some, like, layers of conversation so that it doesn't just seem like a one-sided wall. I'm all about that. I think this is great discourse. I think that it's super dope. The second thing, I did mention in the comment, but bad singing is like a staple. I'm going to have merch for bad singing, like as soon as this thing blows up and everything like that. Bad singing is just like, I really enjoy when people who aren't traditionally trained singers go and hit melodies, whether it's an offbeat melody or whether it sounds really, really good. Like if you look at like Sky Daddy that I cover, she can sing. She's got some good pipes. I still consider it bad singing, and I still glorify it as bad singing on my channel because it's funny, it's dope, and it's kind of like my own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I like it. The people on my channel know it. But again, as someone who doesn't always watch my channel, really only check me out because I covered his stuff, I can see how somebody would be taken aback by that, and I don't mind clearing the air and being like, yo, like that was like, of the critiques that you could be offended by, that should not be one of them at all, because like it was a term of endearment. So shout outs for that. The Joe Rogan Elon Musk comparison, I think he personally went a little bit further than needed to be with like talking about like ideologies and stuff like that. It was a very, very surface level comparison. That's all. Just because of topics and subject matter. Had nothing to do with character, had nothing to do with literally anything other than these are intelligent people to name drop that I could think of, and the one Joe Rogan set that he did really did remind me of the bar that he had in the last verse. That was it. I think that people dug too deep into that maybe a little bit, but again, no disrespect was intended off that. I do realize, and the last thing is I do realize that I create for myself a kind of no-win situation here. If I go and I listen to this Omniverse now and I hype it up and I'm like, oh, this is great. It's like, oh, he's only saying that because he got pressed, you know what I mean, from an artist to like the stuff more. If I double down, I'm trashing it, then it's like, oh, he's only saying something bad because he got pressed by an artist. You know what I mean? Like somebody reacted to his reaction. It's the only reason he's doing that. For those who've been my channel though, like I'm gonna keep it 100 every single time, no matter what. I speak to my audience the same way that I didn't contemplate like nerd style being taken as something bad or bed singing being something as bad. I know that my audience and the people that watch me know that I'm going to be honest about it, because like I just did one with the Hunter Koofies and Merkums, right? Koofies is one of the best rappers I've ever heard bar wise. Like that's my style that I'm really into. And right on the reaction, I'm like, holy shit, is this the first time that I'm seeing somebody like, I think Merkums out rapped him on the joint, and I had no problem saying that. So I get it if, however this goes, positive or negatively, if someone who's not normally part of my audience feels some type of way about it, you guys are entitled to that. Rock out, absolutely. But for those of you who are around, you guys already know that I'm going to keep this 100 as far as the review goes. Now, for Greydon Square, if you do happen to see this and you are checking this out, I would love your opinion. I have a video. You can check the rap, the verse if you want to. Feel free to score me on it. I would be interested to see what you said about that, but I'm more interested. I have a video called Keeping It 100, which is a series where it's not rap, it's just me kind of talking about stuff, where I go over the emotions of a reactor. So it's called Keeping It 100 Emotions of a Reactor, and it's kind of like everything that I've went through from here. And I talk heavily on this about like the sensitivity of artists and those that critique art, the language that we use. Another thing to keep in mind is, like, I just hit my 1,000 subscribers. I've been doing this for less than 2 months. There's going to be some etiquette that I'm not 100% on. There are going to be run-ins with artists that go negative. There are going to be run-ins with artists that go well. I'm a super cool, calm, collective person, I like to think. So when these things do come up, I have no problem addressing them. I'm going to like take everything at face value. I'm not going to back down from my opinions. I'll double down, but I will always give a reasoning behind it. But I am very, very interested to see someone that is an intellectual like yourself look at this type of a thing that I put together and give me what your perspective is, specifically on the part about the language used by people who view and critique things, because it's still something that I'm up in the air with right now, and it's something that I'm dealing with on like a case-by-case basis. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a... what do you call lost for words all of a sudden. I don't have a protocol for it. I don't have when this happens I do this, or when this happens I say this. I use this word, I don't use this word. When I want to say something's trash, instead I say it's not for me. Like I don't have a formula for that yet. Or if I'm going to get one, or if I just want to keep it like 100% genuine and just like talk the way that I talk. I don't know if that's going to impact the channel positive or negative. I haven't like fully developed my own philosophy or my own ideology on how to do the channel yet. I did a lot of research. I came at it from a business perspective. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a sales guy. Always have been. So I think the growth has to do a lot with that. But I would be lying to say that I'm super, super experienced in the reactor realm and dealing with artists and stuff like that. Like I'm learning. You know what I mean? I'm still new at it. So with that out of the way, is there anything else I want to go over? I think that was it. Other than that, for guys, if you are new here, if you don't know what I'm going on, that should have brought you up to speed. Do me a favor, though, as always, I do want to highlight the artist and not the conversations behind it. So if you end up liking this, hit the subscribe button. You see I already subscribed to him off of the last one. And if you fuck with this, go ahead and throw him a subscription. Check the stuff out. All right, we're going to get into this. That was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Thought it was just gonna be like a blurb, but it is what it is. I haven't gotten too much. I did over 100 videos, and I haven't had to have a conversation like this with an artist yet. So I wanted to make sure I utilize it. You know what I mean, the best that I could. We have Omniverse by Greydon Square. We got 5 minutes, so this is one of the longer ones that we'll have done, but we'll hop into it. Now you will see that I said on the original reaction, I do think ahead of time I'm going to enjoy this more because I know what I'm getting involved with right now. Like this, I am fully expecting this to be, you know what I mean? Like, first of all, it's called Omniverse. So I'm already assuming this is going to be like science-based. And then as far as I don't know what to say other than like nerd flows, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So whatever the unabrasive version of that is, like I am expecting it to be more of like an intellectual track. I'm not expecting a club jaunt. I'm not expecting this to be a banger. I'm not expecting this to, you know what I mean, be necessarily like hard body with like street shit. I'm expecting this to be an intellectual track where he's going to put us on to probably 50% words that I don't understand, a few fucking haymakers worth of bars sprinkled in there, and then a subject matter that we've probably never seen before on a track. That's my prediction coming into this. I do, as much as like, my biggest contention with the original one is I personally didn't enjoy the cadence or flow that he was using in it, even though in the same reaction I did shoot him some bail and say I don't know what other cadence or flow would have been able to get that same thing across. I do think that knowing that that's what I'm in for coming into it puts you in a different mindset. Like when I listened to the last one, I was coming off of street gun bars and shit like that and punchline flows. It was a little bit of a shell shock if you don't know that you're coming into something to kind of throw you off. So I do think coming into this that we have a little bit better of a lot better of a mindset about it, and can try to be a little bit more objective about it and not have that like thrown offness be put into the calculations. Enough talk. Hop into it. Greydon Square Omniverse.
Yeah. Type 3. Yo. Started at the foam as a quantum burst. On the journey from the plane through the Omniverse. The shortest distance you can travel at the speed of light. Watch me take the same path as the neutrinos flight. Shot forward, zooming.
So far, it looks like my predictions are going to be pretty on point so far. Let's go.
At the top court, where the space-time and energy roads do not fork. I've been slept on since the electron. Westbourne,
That was a bar.
home of the place to leave your chest warm.
Ooh, hold on, bring that back.
Electron, Westbourne, home of the place to leave your chest warm. Photonic crystals are my playthings. Rap at this scale, spoken in gamma ray wavelengths. Blaze beats, on my way to H3. Unstable combustible isotopes at great heat. Fluid like a Mickey Mouse molecule. Breaking down all atomic rules on the follow through.
Like, I'm 1,000% correct in my anticipation of this. I am not sure of 100% of what was just said, but I do know that if chemistry class was more like this, I would have paid a lot more attention in school.
I traverse the alpha helix. On the way to complex chemistry, you're bound to see it. Deoxyribonucleic secrets in the deep end.
No idea what that means.
As I keep the beat and sow the seeds of reason. The only heathen that can bring you cell replication. Shoot questions dead through the barrel of investigation. Separation, 2 strands. Introduce RNA into the sequence. Then you'll get a new hand.
That was a bar. Alright, I got the mutation bars. Okay, I'm catching half of this. See, this is going to be ironic. This is actually probably going to be the opposite of how I felt the first one. I think the flow is better on this one, but so many of these bars are just, for me, not going to hit home, or I'm not going to understand, that it's going to take away from the lyrical impact. Whereas, like, the haymakers had my face scrunched up 5 times by this point in the last one, and I wasn't feeling the flow. So I do think that that's ironic how that switched.
Puff and Chiba with amoeba, debating which came first, consciousness or the creature. With
Puff and Chiba with an amoeba, debating which came first, the consciousness or the creature.
Puff and Chiba with amoeba, debating which came first, consciousness or the creature.
That's a bar. That's hot. That's fun.
With tapeworms, cannabis tea poured from Russell's teapot to toast to every person to ever win an EGOT. Pack the stadium, the side.
That was a bar. Also, this video could not have been easy to put together. So mad props on this. This is like, I think the fucking video may be more technically impressive than the fucking rap is.
Of a coliseum, skyscrapers, high-rises, tetrahedrons. Give me a beat and an ounce of leaf, and I'll show you things from the crease of the mountain peaks.
That was a great way to, like, just from the, like, I watched probably an hour worth of the live stream, at least the original live stream that you would put up. I think that line right there would be a great t-shirt slogan, merch slogan right there. Bring that back.
Give me a beat and an ounce of leaf, and I'll show you things from the crease of the mountain peaks.
Right there.
Stay artful as I chop countries to state parcels. Leave the planet completely, become a space marshal. On the red plains, exploring the Mars dunes. Scrutinize asteroid debris and small moons. Who you talking to? I spit the cold fission. Visit every world near, then leave the solar system.
Alright, so I think I figured this out too. As far as, for me, sonically, for this to sound better, I think it's just like basic music theory. I think like in the last one that we listened to was a Science versus Nature. If that's not the name, forgive me. But like the actual words that were rhyming, like the end of the bars and stuff like that, were much larger words, I think, and was causing the flow to me to feel like a bit stagnant and more like talking than actual rhyming. Whereas if you pay attention to the words that are on the rhyme scheme here, it's shorter syllable words that are allowing for it to catch more of a rap feel, more of a rap vibe, more of a rap flow, in my opinion.
Only one of many. All the space in between here and there is cold, and much of it is empty. Still come across a nebula or two, a couple of parsecs, and we've only gone a few. The void we launch into, from Orion's arm, starships, galaxy class, we flying on.
This is just No Man's Sky to a beat.
Galactic following, barely known to the local group, trading all alone, their large voids evoking truth. Take it in, let it sober you, as we go out to get a better seat of the overview. An ocean of space engulfing you, with so many superclusters, they're singular in multitude. Every single one, from Leo to Pablo Indus. I've traveled it all, from Columba to Ophiuchus. I break jaws with the great wall of galaxies and filaments that would face all. One existence of distances that you might fear, from end to end that's over 1 billion light years. In a sea of universes it's a bubbling, and this is from the human's perch at the Hubble length. At scales like this I find it troubling.
See, for me, this entire scheme that's been going on, I guess since the last time I paused it, for me, I see that this is technically impressive, but doesn't move me at all. And I think that's where the disconnect is. Like, maybe it comes down to, like, I am just not the target audience for this, but, like, while I can acknowledge the pen game there was technically impressive, I didn't relate to any of that. Like, none of that hit me as, like, like, I'd never heard of those galaxies before. It's impressive that you know them, which could be a flex in and of itself, but I don't, and I said this before about how, like, the beat didn't, or the cadence didn't resonate with me. Like, the lyrics in this one is, like, it sounds like a textbook being, like, broken down, which is impressive, but doesn't register as, like, hot to me. Does that make sense? So, like, that's kind of where I'm at mentally with this.
How can I describe one branch when there are other limbs? Fleeing singularities while they're doubling, coming out the face of multiverse right in front of him. Nowhere to hide, the vast smothers him. A gram's number of gigaparsecs to the upper rim. Hyper realms absent temporal cause. Every unique cosmic set with different physical laws.
That beat, that flow right there is hot as shit.
Plus every species capable of computation probably has supercomputer run simulations, with a population trying to explain it with its own Dr. Gates and its own language. Dirty windshields hinder our comprehension while tracking down great attractors aiming for ascension. From here, the multiverses look like sheets of paper in a library of books near the speed of lasers.
That was good imagery. That was good imagery there.
Phenostructures that are even greater, built from every fundamental thing you see in nature. At a hyper glance you wouldn't even notice the beauty of the balance. Damn, they should have sent a poet. The Omni, the top of the hierarchy, where all modes are in play, even the probably. Cyclical birth, life, and death of a whole entire cosmos where your old life's a speck.
This visual is fucking intense right now. He was like smoking weed on his fucking live and shit like that. I could not watch this video on an edible or anything like that. Like, nope. I'd have been tapped the fuck out. This shit would have me in another world.
A probability swallowed by infinity, existing longer than all cosmological history. Swallowed by infinity, existing longer than all cosmological history.
This looks like a ball sack. This part makes me uncomfortable.
Nature, you're right. And then perhaps our human affinity for this is a reflection of what nature does, because nature uses symmetry in enormous numbers of places for the shape of a flower, a snowflake, any place where we humans look out and we find something beautiful. If you analyze it long enough, you'll probably figure out that we're looking at a symmetric image. But then
this is the shit they talk about in Pi. How, like, nature is just mathematics. I'm not dumb. I pick up on a lot of it. I just also acknowledge that a lot of the terminology I may be unfamiliar with, but I definitely caught a lot of it.
nature turns around and pulls a trick on us, because if the world were perfectly symmetrical, we could not exist. And so nature in the end breaks symmetries, and it turns out that it's by the breaking of those symmetries that the laws apparently of nature that allow human beings to exist occur in the way that they do.
Interesting. That didn't go on for too long. I was about to make a comment about how when like there's a breakdown like that, either in the beginning or end of a song, for me it takes it away from being on a playlist altogether. Just because like if I'm driving down the street or something like that, or I'm at the gym and I got my headphones on, I don't necessarily want to listen to that. But no, that was like 2 seconds at the end. Let's pull this up. Go to the scorecard. Your favorite part, guys. And let's see. Let's look at how much we really like this before we get into it. Before we start scoring anything, one last word on anything. I will say, regardless of how you feel about the music, whether you're my audience, whether you're Greydon's audience, nothing can be taken away from the fact that this man's civil discourse, his ability to have a conversation, be objective for the most part, and either agreeing or disagreeing with stuff, was phenomenal. And regardless of what you think about the music, I'm a fan of the artist. So take that for what it's worth. We are up in the air though. Here's why. For those who are new to the channel, you need 3. You got to catch 3. I did give him a point for the last one. I'm going to give him a point for this one too. A lot of this is because of the technical impressiveness of it, but you need at least 3 for me to be a fan of your work. So up in the air for now. Target audience. I am going to reconcile with the idea that I am probably just not the target audience for this, and kind of leave it at that. Like, at the end of the day, I do get this music. Like, I get it. I get a lot of the bars. I think that I am probably more intelligent than the average hip-hop listener, and I'm able to pick up on a lot of it, but I don't think I seek out this music. I do seek out, I like my hood shit. I do like my gun bars. I do like my battle bars. Like, I've been a battle rapper forever. Like, that's what I like. That's the shit I seek out. So, for argument's sake, I am going to put that I do not think that I am the target audience for this, and I think that will kind of alleviate a lot of the contention there. Proper setting for this. Study hall? Like, for real, put yourself in school, right? If you had these type of raps or music in general, I don't give a fuck what it was, but if you could get some serious in-depth education from the bars, because it's like, it's more catchy. Animaniacs used to do that. That's what this is to me. This is the Animaniacs jaunt where they're going over all the states and the capitals and shit like that. I learned more off of that one track than I did that entire year, which is probably why I'm not the target audience for this. Ghostwriter for this, not even touching this one again. That caused all types of shit last time. Alright, bars, lyrics. I do want to know what your opinion is if I would have said Bill Nye the Science Guy, because I fucks with Bill. Alright, bars and lyrics. I did not like the bars and lyrics on this one as much as I liked the last one. I must have, like, when I went back and re-listened to that sniper line that he had, like, and then I found out that he was a vet, like, he has military, like, service behind. I don't know to what extent or anything like that. Shouts out to him for the service. I support the military. But, like, that makes the sniper bar that he had in the last one that more confirms than the internet. That whole scheme that he did hits so much harder when you find out that, like, he actually has service for some reason. For me, like, it adds a level of authenticity to it that I was fucking with. Bars lyrically though, this didn't do it for me. But I also, like, this is a difficult score for me, because although I didn't necessarily relate to it or fuck with it in, like, a preference style, I do acknowledge that, like, writing this would take me a week to write. This would have took me a week easily to write. And that's probably not even including, like, Googling half the shit that he said. Like, it was impressive, but at the same time, like, not for me. So, like, I'm trying to figure, like, I'm literally just buying myself time right now, trying to figure out how I want to word this. Like, you could make an argument that this is a 25 out of 25 lyrically. Not bars. Not good. Like, it wasn't there bars-wise. But lyrically, you could make the argument that this was written perfectly, that this was 25 out of 25, because I can't refute any of that shit that he's like. None of it was whack. None of it was trash. It's just whether or not you personally felt it. So how are you going to score it? Are you going to score it based on the fact that, like, from a technical aspect, it's dope, or are you going to score it based on, like, would I listen to this? Which is what I think I have to do. I think for me personally, I have to judge it based off of my opinion. I'm going to give this an 18. Solid verse, short of their best, but overall dope. Here's why. This is where my thought process is. I'm still geeking out about bars on the last one, whereas for this, I didn't walk away with any quotables for me that hit as hard as the last one did. So to me, where it says best they can do at a 20 and up, I feel like for this to be targeted at me, I like the bar style of the last one better. I think that they did better, so I can't say this is the best they can do. So 18 is a solid verse, short of their best, but overall dope. Excuse me, overall dope. Now the delivery, I think the delivery was better here. Like, I gave my explanation. I'm not going to deep dive into it again. Wasn't unexpected, but it was dope. I'm going to give it a 20. Best they could do, nothing trash, solid verse. Give them a straight up 20 for that. Beat selection, 15 out of 15. The beat selection, he has a thing the same way that, like, Sky does. Like, for those who watch the channel. Like, Sky finds these beats that just fit the genre of music that she does so fucking well. And same thing, like, you hear that beat. I did not think that Nuck If You Buck was about to come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does a good job of setting the ambience. 15 out of 15. Sound quality and mixing, everything was perfect. 15 out of 15. That really, for those who are new here, like, the sound quality and mixing for me is probably more so for, like, beginning artists. I don't expect somebody who has 15,000 subs to still not know to, you know what I mean? Like, don't into the mic. Stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Effectiveness. Do I think that this did what the artist sought it out to do? Based on the comments from his chat, I don't know if that was just live chat or Discord or what it was, but based on the comments there, I think my assessment on him as an artist was super on point as far as, like, being able to garner a strong fan base and stuff like that. I did read some of the comments on it too. Like, the comments that were down underneath his video was like, people were seriously heavily fucking with this. Like, somebody was like, I put this on my unborn child so that they can get, like, how can you say something's not effective when someone says I'm putting, like, headphones on my unborn child to listen to this to make them smarter? It's hard to refute that. So I will give it a 10 for effectiveness. Enjoyability, I'm going with a 5, which again is technically good. I can appreciate the skill and effort, just not my taste, which I think is a pretty good sentiment overall for how I feel about this. This did end up scoring higher. I got this as an 83 out of 100. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I think a big difference between this is, like, there was a lot of points. There's a 7-point differential just in delivery on this track that definitely, like, scored it higher than the last one. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Drop comments down below. As always, I appreciate you just taking the time to come and check out the channel. It's always love, and I will catch you on the next one.